Syria and Israel negotiate security agreement and demilitarization of southern Damascus. Syria and Israel are meeting this Wednesday to discuss the proposal for a new security agreement presented by Tel Aviv. This was reported by Axios, citing two sources close to the dossier. The meeting will see Israeli Strategic Affairs Minister Ron Dermer and Syrian Foreign Minister Asa'ad al-Shaibani negotiate in London, along with U.S. envoy Tom Barrack, who is mediating between the two countries. In recent weeks, Israel has submitted a proposal to Syria for a new agreement that includes a map of demilitarized zones stretching from southwest Damascus to the border with Israel. The proposal builds on the 1979 Camp David agreement between Egypt and Israel, which divided the Sinai Peninsula into 3 zones and outlined several security arrangements. Syria has not yet responded to Tel Aviv's proposal and has been working on a counter-proposal in recent weeks, Axios reported. Wednesdays will be the third trilateral meeting in recent months. Sources familiar with the matter said progress was being made, but no agreement seemed imminent. Israel would propose a partition of southern Syria. The proposal builds on the 1979 Israeli-Egyptian peace agreement that divided the Sinai Peninsula into Zone A, B and C and established different security arrangements and various levels of demilitarization based on their distance from the Israeli border. According to Axios, Syria has been asked to agree to a large demilitarized zone and a no-fly zone over its territory, with no change on the Israeli side of the border. According to the proposal, the area southwest of Damascus would be divided into 3 zones, with the Syrians able to maintain different levels of troops and weapons depending on the area. The proposal also provides for the expansion of the buffer zone by 2 kilometers on the Syrian side. In the strip adjacent to the buffer zone and closer to the border with Israel, on the Syrian side, military forces and heavy weapons would not be allowed, but Syria could maintain a presence of police and internal security forces. It is about a no-fly zone and a strategic outpost. According to the proposal, the entire area from southwest Damascus to the Israeli border would be designated as a no-fly zone for Syrian aircraft. In exchange for these restrictions on the Syrian side, Israel has proposed a gradual withdrawal from all territory occupied in Syria in recent months, with the exception of an outpost on the top of Mount Hermon, which is of strategic importance. A senior Israeli official said Tel Aviv insists on maintaining its presence there in any future deal. The source told the U.S. website that one of the core principles of the Israeli proposal is the maintenance of an air corridor to Iran through Syria, which would allow for any future Israeli attacks on Iran. Netanyahu opens up to meeting with al-Sharaa. According to Axios, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has expressed interest in arranging a meeting with Syrian President Ahmed al-Sharaa on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly at the end of September, but the likelihood of this happening is low at this stage, according to an Israeli official. Netanyahu said at a press conference on Tuesday that U.S. President Donald Trump invited him to visit the White House on September 29. Syria is working on a counter-proposal. Syria is accelerating talks with Israel, under pressure from the United States to reach a security agreement that it hopes will lead to the return of territory occupied by Israel in recent months. A deal, however, will not amount to a full peace treaty, Reuters sources said. Damascus is preparing a response to the proposal, which includes the withdrawal of Israeli forces from the territories conquered in recent months, the return of the buffer zone agreed in the 1974 armistice to the demilitarized state, and the cessation of airstrikes and ground incursions by Tel Aviv and Syria. The sources said the talks did not address the status of the Golan Heights, which the Jewish state has occupied since the 1967 war, while a Syrian source familiar with Damascus' position indicated the issue would be left for the future. Since the fall of the regime of former Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, Israel has bombed several Syrian military sites and its forces have reached 20 kilometers from Damascus, continuing to make almost daily incursions into villages in the provinces of Quneitra and Daraa. The sources added that during talks held behind closed doors in recent months, Israel has shown reluctance to give up on these gains. Attempts to stabilize southern Syria are advancing. Wednesday's meeting comes after Syria, Jordan, and the United States adopted a roadmap on Tuesday to resolve the crisis in Swayda province and stabilize southern Syria, indicating that Washington will work with Jordanian support and in consultation with Damascus to reach security agreements with Israel. These arrangements respond to the legitimate security concerns of both Syria and Israel, while emphasizing Syria's sovereignty, the Syrian Foreign Ministry said. The roadmap to resolve the crisis in Sweda emphasizes the end of external interference in the province. Syrian President Ahmed al-Sharaa, in an interview with the Syrian news channel Al-Akhbariyah a few days ago, said that his country is currently engaged in negotiations to reach a security agreement until Israel returns to what it was before December 8. Israel's operations in Syria do not stop. The Syrian news channel Al-Akhbariyah reported at dawn on Wednesday the continuation of Israeli incursions. Tel Aviv's forces have penetrated the cities of Jabata al-Kashav and Ovania, in the northern countryside of Quneitra, in the south of the country. The channel added that Israeli forces carried out searches and raised drones in the Quneitra countryside. Damascus condemned Israeli attacks and repeated incursions into Quneitra, Daraa, and the Damascus countryside, stressing that they hamper stabilization efforts and represent a violation of international law and the 1974 disengagement agreement.